lies, shenanigans. Truth, 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 lies, shenanigans.
Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans. Oh yeah! Shenanigans. Truth, lies, 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 shenanigans.
Hey friends, welcome to Truth, Lies, and Shenanigans, the live show for Sunday, September 20th, 2020. My name is Neo, and I'll be trying to keep these guys in line. My co-host for today's show, we have Rob B.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here on a Sunday.
We have we have Lizzie.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday Fun Day. Maybe some of you are humping today, but it's Sunday, not Wednesday hump day, Sunday.
And we have Jam today.
We have come back from past Wednesday to direct your future. So we welcome you.
All right. For our show today, we'll be talking Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We'll also be talking Trump, talking about slavery, and also we'll be talking about anti-maskers and a good punishment for them. All right. So, guys, I have a question for you. Um, so 2020 has been pretty much terrible, right? So, yeah, it's
Dumpster
been
fire. Dumpster fire.
yeah, I'm completely fed up with it. I keep thinking the bad news has stopped, but it, it it literally just keeps going one after the other, right back to back. So, you know, even there are days when we're trying to keep lighthearted shows, but we just can't. So, are we going to catch any breaks this year? I mean, any breaks at all? Cam, what do you think?
November 3rd.
Are
Oh,
we
good
going to
answer.
catch a break? Are we going to
Good
catch a
answer.
break November 3rd, though?
November 3rd. That is our break. You make it, or you let the world happen. And I'm in make it mode at the moment. I don't know about y'all, but that's the end of my 2020 is November 3rd. So
Yeah. Let's hope so. What do you think, Rob B?
Well, my birthday's a week after that, so I hope it doesn't end after that. I'd like to celebrate that, but yeah, it. There has been an inordinate amount of bad news and stuff that kicks you down, but there has been a lot of good stuff happening behind the scenes that we've lost focus on, and it's maybe it's important to have that refocus every now and then. But politically, yeah, it's not going well south of the border, and it just keeps getting worse.
And Lizzie, what do you think? Are we going to catch some break?
I think, if in me personally, I'm going to catch a break on my favorite day of the year, October 31st, Halloween. It's my dad's birthday. So if he were still with us, he would have been 100 years old this year. But think
what?
of it this
100. Wow.
yeah, my dad was old when I was born, y'all. But think of it this way. This Halloween, we get a chance to scare all of those Trumpsters out there before he gets kicked out of office. So I'm going to be calling on the soul of Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason to come out and do Fright Night, Saturday,
Ooh.
October 31st. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
And what is important about two of those guys is they remembered to wear their masks.
Oh, good one, Jam.
Good call, Jam. All right. So remember, our show is live everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, at TLS Live Show. And you can also watch us at truthliveshenanigans.com. And if you love our show, please get the word out. Take a minute. Invite a couple of your friends to the show if you think they'd enjoy it, and mention them in the comments section. So we should have a really good show today. So they should really enjoy that. Of course, we love it
So
when you.
every,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, every time on Twitter, every time I retweet something or tweet something about Donald Trump, I tag him. I at Donald Trump. So maybe he will, tweet us one of these days and get the dialogue going.
Oh, seriously? You tag
Yeah,
Donald?
I tag Donald.
Remember, vote for the next Democrat, DT. Vote for the next Democrat.
Right there,
Maybe,
right there.
maybe you'll change his mind. Maybe you'll change his mind.
Do the country a favor. Do the country a favor.
All right, cool. So let me tell you what Truth Lies Shenanigans is all about. We'll be sharing our truths and opinions with you, calling out the lies, and pointing out those crazy shenanigans going on. But most importantly on this show, we try to have fun with shenanigans of our own. But we do have one rule. There's no cussing on the show. If you get caught cussing, there's a $10 penalty. And if you're caught cussing 3 times in the same show, you will be writing a love letter to dear
He
Trump.
wrote me beautiful letters, and they're great letters. We fell in love.
You'll be writing some great letters just like Kim Jong-un.
So if I wrote Trump a letter and I said, "Dear Donald Trump, you cannot grab me by the pussy," is pussy in that sense a curse word? I mean, because I'm quoting him. I'm quoting him.
So, Julius, I will let you answer that question because she's already said it. She's already said it twice.
I'm looking for Julius. I only see Jam though. Let's see. So, I would say that is a great question that should have been asked offline. 2 violations.
Agreed.
Drink deeper, Liz. One more.
I'm just
quoting.
I'm quoting the POTUS. I'm quoting the POTUS.
All right. So I guess we'll just go with that.
Poor Rob. He's like, first it was penis envy, now it's grab her by the
It's a victory.
You grab them where you can. You grab them where you can. All right.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into the show, guys. A lot of shenanigans going on already. All right. So before we get into hot topics, we do have a serious topic to talk about. We have to talk about the notorious RBG. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died on Friday due to complications of metastatic pancreatic cancer at the age of 87. Ginsburg was appointed in 1993 by President Bill Clinton and has been serving as the most senior member of the court's liberal wing, consistently delivering progressive votes on the most divisive social issues of the day, including abortion rights, same-sex marriage, voting rights, immigration, healthcare, and affirmative action. This is definitely a sad time for America, but let's start out first by remembering Justice Ginsburg.
In my lifetime, I expect to see 3, 4, perhaps even more women on the High Court bench, women not shaped from the same mold, but of different complexions.
Notorious B.I.G. and I had something in common. We were both born and bred in Brooklyn, New York.
I, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, do solemnly swear
I ask no favor for my sex. All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
Amen.
serving on this court is the highest honor, the most awesome trust that can be placed in a judge.
People ask me sometimes, when do you think it will be enough? When will there be enough women on the court? And my answer is, when there are 9.
Amazing woman. Before we go into what her untimely passing is setting in motion, let's talk about her a bit. Who she was, what she's meant to the country over the past 27 years as a justice. What are your thoughts? Let's start with Lizzie.
A champion, a lioness for women's rights, for equal rights for people that don't necessarily look like her or her former husband. Her husband died, I believe, in 2010. Martin. They were married for 56 years, which is unheard of, in today's world. But she was a champion for the human race, for everyone to be treated fairly, equally, and given a fair chance. And so it's dismayed me a little bit over the past couple of days since we heard of her passing on Friday to see some of the pushback that's been out there against her, mostly partisan pushback, mostly pushback in terms of differences in ideologies and things like that, without acknowledging all she did for women in this country, especially pushback coming from men who are married to women, who have mothers, who have sisters, who have daughters, but also from other women who have come out and said some awful things about her and the fight that she has put forth in her career, especially when it came to abortion. But this is someone who, you know, in her time on the bench, in her service to this country, she never backed down from a fight. She always spoke her mind, and she always challenged her male counterparts to see her and treat her as an equal. And as a woman, I admire that. As a woman who, you know, fought for years, or who worked for years along men in a male dominated career as a sports journalist, it's something that I was constantly fighting, something that I was constantly thinking about. So it was always great to see that there was at least one person on the Supreme Court who had my back. Not you, Clarence Thomas, but RBG.
Nice, Thomas, please. Robbie, what are your thoughts on RBG?
Well, they're going to be limited thoughts because it's not necessarily an arena that I know a lot about. But just from what I do know of her, she was very progressive in her rulings that supported a variety of human rights issues, like you said, Neo, that are very divisive in the United States of America, where she was looking for the well-being of the overall citizenry rather than serving an agenda, which I think is admirable when you're given that responsibility, that duty at that level that she has. It's and from what I understand, this is going to be a considerable loss moving forward, just with some of the laws that you're wanting to push or fight against. So
And for
it
those
is.
that I'm sorry, for those that don't know Robbie is Canadian.
I
Blame
am
Canada.
Canadian.
Right.
Blame
I saw.
Canada.
Go ahead. Sorry to cut you off.
No, and that's pretty much it for me, Neil. Because like I said, I've seen some of her portrayals in media. I know that she was beloved by several entertainers, and any time that she was when they did parody, it was never disrespectful or disdainful. It was funny,
Yeah.
and that's usually a pretty good mark of what kind of leader you are at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't say my early, like, until post college, there was no impression of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It wasn't until I became a grown up and had to really plug into the world that her significance began to have prominence. Because as at least as I became a more mature person, and you begin to really pay attention to the politics of the world and what's going on, and not just who's saying what, but who has an effect somewhere, I knew that even if I disagreed with the Supreme Court decision, there were only 2 or 3 people I even wanted to hear from. And she was always the person on that list because her intelligence and her eloquence and her message was such that it was something you needed to understand, because she not only had a good grasp of the law, but she had a good grasp of a better grasp of the world and what it meant, what it means to me, at least, to be a compassionate, uh, not necessarily liberal, but a compassionate person who looks at politics as something that is supposed to benefit the country.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. For me, I mean, she's, you know, I never really considered the Supreme Court as a significant entity until, maybe like Jam said, until I was older. And the only one I knew or really cared about was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Of course, I knew about Clarence Thomas because I didn't really like him. Um, but other than that, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I mean, I actually hadn't seen the movie yet, but I've been wanting to see the movie um, about her life. Um, but I mean, she just seemed like an amazing woman. Even just doing these clips and putting together this production, I learned a lot about her. I mean, she really stood up for the people, for minorities, for people who were underserved, undervalued in this country. And that was what was important and what was needed at the time that she came in. So we owe her a lot of gratitude. Um, Now, her death occurring less than 7 weeks before the election has set into motion a series of political battles to come. Um, Now, just about 2 hours after her death was announced, and Lizzie alluded to this, uh, and before even fully acknowledging her loss, um, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Friday evening.
I think you mispronounced it. It doesn't begin with an M. It begins with a B. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. What word is that?
I don't know what you're saying.
word is that?
It's Mitch McConnell. Mitch
Mr.
McConnell.
Point Rob B.
His first one, actually. But he said President Trump's nominee to replace her will receive a vote on the Senate floor. This was after it was reported that her most fervent dying wish is that she will not be replaced until a new president is installed. Trump has since said he would replace her with a female justice, kind of taking a page from Biden's book. But also, he says he plans to nominate her prior to the next presidential debate. What are you guys' thoughts on the battle that's brewing? And obviously, this does help Republicans in that they likely get another conservative on the Supreme Court. But does it help? Who does it help most leading into the election? Let's start with Jam.
Well, let's see. I think it helps the put more fire under an already fired up Democratic base. I'll start with that statement. I think it also helps in some ways for whatever political action is going to occur if Biden is in office afterwards, because by Itch McConnell not declaring, like holding back the nomination during Obama's term, and then pushing this one through. And by the way, it would be the shortest time period. 69 days is the shortest period they've ever taken to affirm a justice. And this one would be, it always falls in shorter than that. So to confirm a justice. So I think those two occurrences alone are going to push they raise the bar, especially for Democrats again, so that whatever comes out of this will be that much more strong and structured of a response in a liberal manner.
Okay, Lizzie.
I hope that people are paying attention once again, even though we know they probably aren't, because here on September 20th, I think the majority of people in this country who are going to vote on November 3rd already know who they're going to vote for. But for those people who are still, vacillating between the candidates, I hope they pay attention to the conversations that the Republicans and the conservatives and the efforts that they're trying to put forth now. There is no reason why, under any circumstance, you should ram or you should rush a Supreme Court nomination. There's no reason. There's no sense of urgency. There's no pressing issue that deems it urgent that you need to make this vote, that you need to put forth this nomination now, especially since we have proof that when Obama was in office, that you took the opposite approach. They did everything they could to say, we should not nominate. I think it was after Scalia died, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But they did everything they could to say that in a presidential election year, there should be no nomination put forth. The incoming president should make the decision for the nomination, not just Mitch McConnell, not just Ted Cruz, not just Mark Rubio. There's a whole list of Republican senators and congressmen who shared these same sentiments, including Lindsey Graham.
Let's not
And
forget
now
when Obama went out.
They're flipping it. They're flipping it. And so this has nothing to do with who they feel is the best nominee for that Supreme Court seat. This is all about partisanship. This is all about politics. This is all about, we got to get one more conservative on the bench before it's too late. And that's a shame. That's really a shame. And this is another reason why, for all of you out there who continue to think that your vote doesn't count, this is another reason why you need to get up off the damn couch and vote. When you vote in the general election, you're not just voting for president. You're
Right.
voting for all of these other things
Yep.
that come with the presidency and the White House and the administration. And so once this conversation started on Friday, my pressure went up. I started crying. I'm just like, we are about to flip this government even more so than it was already flipped. It's about to get really ugly. On the flip side of that, I was kind of sad that this wasn't the summer where I was teaching a politics class, because this would be a great civics lesson. Because I had to look up what the rules were, what we can and cannot do, how long they have to get a nominee, and we still have to go through the nomination process. Like, whomever the nominee is, they still have to sit before Congress and answer a whole bunch of questions. There have already been a few senators who have said that they will not vote. They will
Susan
not
Howell.
support a nominee until after the inauguration. And I think it's only fair. We're not asking for anything out of the ordinary. We're asking you to be fair. And they couldn't even do that while the woman's body was still warm. Body wasn't even cold yet.
That's the thing that pissed
Still
me off. 2 hours after, I mean,
Right.
seriously,
Crazy.
2 hours after they made the announcement,
It's ridiculous. It's
you made it
ridiculous.
political immediately, and they didn't even acknowledge, her as a person. I just want to say, as far as the voting, don't forget senators, House representatives are very important. Local elections, very important. So even the general elections, although the general election is important, we need to be at every election every single year. There's an election in your location, be there and vote.
And if we have any viewers out there who are from Kentucky, who are from South Carolina,
God, yeah.
look at Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and what they're doing now. These are your senators, and they are up for re-election. This is disgusting behavior. Absolutely disgusting. Not that they haven't been acting in a disgusting fashion all year, but this is the tip of the iceberg, the cherry on top. You have an opportunity to change this.
Robbie, before I get to your thoughts, let me do some comments online. I just want to say that some people online said that, Lizzie, you had a violation for your quote, the P word.
Power to the people.
Technically, how am I going to have a violation, one, for quoting someone,
but
also for something that I have? I have a pussycat in this apartment.
there are a couple of people that agreed with you. So
Well, let's see. I was going to read it. Jacqueline Robinson, a female nominee, is who is absolutely hard and approved by Russia. Sly, RBG left a huge legacy and did so much good. My only disappointment is how she upheld the doctrine of discovery. Mike Winter has posted a few different RBG documentaries up there, so if you guys scroll through, you'll be able to get to them. Kevin Thaxton, yeah, after Scalia. Jacqueline Robinson, they figured they were going to lose big in November, and they want to ram through as many unqualified judges as possible. And Mike Winter is about power grab instead of doing things that make people want to vote for you. Daria, vote top ballot on down ballot.
And Kevin Thaxton liked Mitch McConnell.
What did you say? I didn't hear that.
Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Robbie, what are your thoughts on the battle?
It's close. You're this close. It's close.
Yeah, it's really you have a seat of power that doesn't have a strong reputation for following procedure or doing what's ethically correct. So I think that, yeah, we're going to see a huge fast track to get a pawn into place. We're looking, number 45 is looking at obstructing he's looking at obstructing the electoral process as much as possible this November. And if he can slot in a seat that's going to support his agenda and any challenges that he has, I mean, he's been quoted as saying he's not going to step down until until it's done. So he's going to do everything he can to railroad this and to extend it as long as possible. And we're seeing it And this death, unfortunately, just plays into that agenda. And from the outside looking in, that's scary.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead. I'll let you jump in before.
Okay. Keep in mind that if, as I understand the politics correctly, just because we now have 9 justices doesn't mean 9 justices is where it stops. Am I correct in that? Like we are not tied as a country to 9 justices. They can appoint more if a new president or even an old president decides to.
I'm not aware of that.
Again, I have to go check on my civics.
That's new information. Where are you getting this from? Where are you getting this from?
At one point, there were 13 justices on the Supreme Court, and they pulled the number down because a similar, I don't know what started it, but a similar process occurred. So I don't think there's an actual limit on the amount of justices that can occur. It's just sort of one of those gentlemen's agreements that has been trashed over the last decade and a half or so.
Interesting.
But I'll see if I can dig up some more information and come back to the group as well.
Yeah, if you can dig it up before we close this out, try to see if you can find something. All right. So the question that I have for you guys: so does McConnell have the votes to make this happen? Because it's not clear. It's not clear cut. There's a 53-47 majority right now in the Senate. Republicans changed the rules recently, though, so the simple majority vote is all that's needed. That's all they need is a simple majority, meaning a 51-50 vote. So it used to be, by the way, it used to be a supermajority, which would have been a 2/3 vote. Now, one Republican vote, Maine Senator Susan Collins, she is in a re-election race right now, and she's struggling in major part because of her deciding vote to confirm Brett Kavanaugh. So she probably doesn't need to be voting on any Supreme Court justices just before an election. There's also Alaska Senator, and Lizzie alluded to this as well, Lisa Murkowski, Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski. She just before Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death was announced, she said that she would not vote to confirm a Supreme Court nominee 50 days before an election. So she publicly said that just before she passed away. And then, of course, there's Utah Senator Mitt Romney, who would likely stand on the side of what is right and proper, as he has been against Trump. Also, there is word that Mitt Romney is being considered as Biden's Secretary of State. So he probably would be. Anyway, that leaves a 50-50 split, with Mike Pence potentially breaking the tie. And that doesn't include possible defections of Democrats. So do you think confirmation is in the bag for Trump, or will it be a fight in the Senate? What do you think?
First of all, your last statement there kind of scares me. Defection of Democrats. Listen, y'all mofos need to get in line and recognize and do what is right. This is
That's
not
what
the time.
That's the Republicans did.
This is not the time for that, Dems. This is not the time. Now is not the time, in the words of Martin Lawrence. Now is not the time. But also, I don't trust Susan Collins.
Yeah.
She's a notorious flip-flopper.
Mm-hmm.
So what she says now could be totally different next week, tomorrow, tonight. I think, it's good that she is put out there that she will not, support this. However, I don't really trust her.
Well, Susan Collins did not say that she would not support it. That was Murkowski.
Susan Collins did come out with a statement.
She did?
So
yeah,
okay, I didn't catch that. Okay.
She did come out with a statement. I just don't trust the statement.
Oh no, yeah, she did it, like I say, with Kavanaugh.
Yeah, she has a history of
I have a different for this one with her. I feel a little differently because that election is so close, and she needs like the Democrats who are still voting for her and those independents who may or may not believe her word. Like this, we're literally at that election. So I think Susan Collins, and she's already been called out for doing what you guys were just talking about. So I think this election is where we see Susan Collins pretend she had a backbone for the last 4 years. And so, she can be like, what I said.
I think it'll come down to when the confirmation hearings occur. I mean, they'll probably happen close to election time, but if it drags on past election, we're done.
But also, too, I think this is an opportunity and Biden has made a couple of comments, but this is where Biden and Kamala Harris need to really stand up and really make their voices heard.
I agree.
And really get out there and make a statement about how ridiculous this process has become. And reach out to not only, us as voters, but also their constituents on the Capitol. Like, you need to start talking to people and get them to understand. We're not telling you to vote anyway or not. We're telling you to be fair. We're asking you to be fair about the process. And if you can't be fair about the process now, we're going to remember this sugar honey iced tea. Because I'm not saying the word. We're going to remember this. We're going to remember this. But
I'm sorry. Actually, I didn't mean to play it that quick. But
you played it on purpose.
I was planning to play it on purpose. It just played automatically without because I saw Mike Winter's comment.
But no, I honestly, I think that even though there have been a lot of people, conservatives, a lot of people on the Republican side who have agreed with Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham over the weekend, there have been a lot of people who have been appalled about the timing. And there was no reason why they couldn't wait until Monday.
No reason.
2 hours after they announced that the woman had passed away. 2 hours. So we see where your mind is right now. There's no compassion. There's no empathy. There's no humanity with these people.
Yep.
There was no reason why they couldn't wait till Monday.
I want to let Rob B get in real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna let you talk in a second.
It's. I think it's going to be ugly, and I certainly hope that people will forget the partisan politics and simply vote with their conscience. Do what's right for the American people at large. It's not been the way that it's been, but I can hope.
Rob, I just want you to know, I'm hoping for somebody to drive up a Porsche and drop the keys in front of my door. I don't know how I feel about that answer, Rob.
The border's closed. I'm sorry, I can't deliver.
So real quick, to answer the earlier question, at one point there were 13. The Congress is responsible for voting for the limits of Supreme Court justices. Currently, it is at 9. It came down from 10 not too long ago, and it was up from 7 at one point when things got out of control when they were trying to stop another president from appointing too many justices right before they were on their way out of office. So right now we are at 9, but if it becomes a democratically controlled Senate and the House stays democratically controlled, there might be
another reason to vote. Vote.
I have a question, and this is for Rob. Again, I'm always curious as to what the impression is outside of the United States. So what's the conversation in Canada about her passing and the implications of what could happen with our government with her passing? If there are any conversations.
I can't say that I've been part of any of those conversations since Friday. Just a few conversations at home with my wife, and these falling in line with the education process, learning what the implications are. And that's it. Like, really, just it's really unfortunate timing for something like this to happen, for more shenanigans from your BOTUS.
All right.
I saw one comment really quickly, Neil. I saw one comment online where someone was asking, couldn't her family have just waited to make this announcement until after the election? And then we would have.
That would be like impossible to wait that long.
Impossible, one, because she's Jewish. And so, the Jewish faith tends to bury their fallen very quickly. But also, Ruth gave everything she had for as long as she could.
She tried. I mean, she was a trooper. She wanted to retire. She wanted to retire. If Hillary had won in 2016, she would have retired by now. But she was trying to hold on to that spot until Trump was out as long as she possibly could. I mean, she's had several bouts of cancer and fought them off. So, I mean, you talk about a strong woman. She is, I mean, RBG is a strong woman. I mean, she should be synonymous with a strong woman.
And she gave us all she could. I think everything. Now it's us. It's up to us. It's on us.
Everything.
At this point.
I do want to say before we close out, the only saving grace I think we have is I think Trump will try to intentionally go for a moderate pick, simply to try to appeal to some independents that they've lost. I mean, he's already said that he's going for a woman, but I think he'll try for a moderate pick.
Well,
I mean, they would be stupid to try to just simply straight cater to their own base continuously. But again, we are talking Trump, so we know what that means. But I still think he'd be stupid to just do another straight conservative.
I've heard talk about two of the women who they're considering,
Mm-hmm.
and at least one of them they're worried about because they're like, she's still a bit of an unknown. She might do some liberal stuff, so it's gonna be it's already on, and
Maybe I'll bring a QAnon friend in.
right.
Also, the pick after Scalia died. He's not as conservative. I think it's Roberts.
Gorsuch?
He's not.
You talking Gorsuch? Is that who you're talking
Gorsuch.
Is it Gorsuch?
Or are you
One
talking
of
about the
those-
one? You talking the one on the? No, you're right. You talking about Kavanaugh? Or are you talking about
No,
there's
I'm
one
not
more?
talking about Kavanaugh. The one before Kavanaugh. The one who isn't as conservative
Yeah, he's not.
as
Yeah,
they thought he was going to be.
that's true.
Like yeah, and so we could also see that, like, unless they pick someone from alt right, you don't know what you're going to get. Maybe they pick someone who does have a conscience.
That would be amazing. But
I mean,
right now it's scary. That's all I can tell you.
I think Roberts has been a surprise because I think some of the decisions he's
think
made.
he's
That's what I'm
changed.
talking about, Robert. That's what I'm talking about, Robert.
He's been a chief justice for a while.
Yeah,
Okay,
but he's
Robert.
made decisions that are more about keeping the country
Yeah.
from exploding than from maintaining the conservative agenda.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think he's been more moderate than conservative, which is good. All right, so let's close this out. Again, rest in peace, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, we're going to move on to our hot topics for the day.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, the way our hot topics works, each host comes up with a topic of the news they want to discuss. They tell us about their hot topic, ask a question, and we'll start our timer. And our host will then discuss it. Once time is up, we'll see our Genji dancing to our theme song, and he'll let us know time is up. Then we'll move on to the next host and their topic and talk about whatever they want.
I'm tapping into the East's energy.
Now, today, our hot topics will be from Lizzie and Rob B. Now, again, make sure you're sharing your thoughts and feelings and questions online. We'll be listening and responding. And today, let's start with Lizzie because it rolls right into what we've been talking about.
It's a perfect segue.
Truth, lies, or shenanigans, by the way.
At this point, I feel like all of my topics are truth and shenanigans. Probably more shenanigans than anything else. So on Thursday, the president announced that he is going to enact a resolution or proposition or whatever terminology he used that will forbid or that will put clamps on what we do with our education system as it relates to teaching the history of slavery in our schools. So I know you have a video, but even before the video, I just want to read a quote that he used in one of his speeches over the past couple of days on this topic. He said, critical race theory and the crusade against American history is toxic propaganda. Ideology poison that, if not removed, will dissolve the civic bonds that tie us together. He said that slavery, as it's taught now, is a liberal hoax, and it's meant to divide the country and make our white population in this country feel bad about their identity and who they are. So I want you to look at this video of that Neo has put together of him talking about Trump talking about this very topic, and then I'll come back and get some
The president risked inflaming tensions further, attacking education programs that teach kids about the lasting impacts of slavery, saying they make students feel ashamed of U.S. history.
The left has warped, distorted, and defiled the American story with deceptions, falsehoods, and lies.
Donald Trump vowed to use the power of his office to develop what he called a patriotic curriculum. Statements that came after his attorney general dismissed the Black Lives Matter movement.
They're not interested in black lives. They're interested in props. A small number of blacks who were killed by police who they can use as props to achieve a much broader political agenda.
And then said this about pandemic restrictions.
Other than slavery, which was a different kind of restraint, this is the greatest intrusion on civil liberties in American history.
That dude really pisses me off. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lizzie.
No, so my question to you all is, what is offensive about teaching the truth, the real history of slavery in this country? And I say that, and Rob may not know this as a Canadian, slavery as it relates to history is not a huge part of the American education curriculum. It's not something that the entire scope of what happened in slavery and the ill effects of slavery after, the subsequent effects of slavery, is not something that is really taught a lot in the American public school system, first grade through 12th grade. Case in point, Neo, Jim, and I went to Woodrow Wilson High School. Never once were we taught at Wilson that Woodrow Wilson was a racist.
Intense racist.
One of the best. One of the best.
Was a supporter of the KKK. We were never taught that. And so now there is a movement in Washington, D.C. to get the school renamed. But at a little bit, a part of me feels like a fool because I'm always hyping up, I went to Wilson, Wilson, not knowing when I was 14, 15, 16,
totally
who this actual president was.
Right.
And so my question to you all is, what is the problem with teaching the truth about our country? Why is he so afraid of that?
I mean, it's what they call white guilt. I mean, they don't want to feel denigrated in any way. So I mean, it's all about the superiority of people, So if you feel superior, anyone who challenges that superiority, right? Even if it's as a race or in any way, in this case, it's race. Anyone who challenges that superiority is a threat to you, right? Because they make you feel inferior because of what the race did. So the reality of it is we have to be honest. I mean, we're taught all the time about the Civil War. We're taught about the Revolutionary War. All of that wasn't positive and good. We're
Holocaust.
I mean, Holocaust. I mean, it's not good. But the thing is, we have to know these things because you have to be able to do different. If you don't know the bad or the wrongs of the past, then you can't be better in the future. So, I mean, but it really is about superiority and maintaining that sense of superiority within their group of people. You said Jam was next.
Where can I begin with this one? One of the things I'm gonna walk through some real quick DC history. Like one of the best, one of the best junior high schools to go to wasn't, I hate to say, the one up there beside Wilson, but it was Jefferson. And the reason why was because their teachers were allowed to explore much more deeply into the ideas of slavery, because that was more of the community they were in. So I found that being one of the students coming out of there, like we had an outlook on the effect of people of color as it affected like America, like I did not encounter in many other students. And so like we spent time on there's a movie called Ethnic Notions, if you guys have a chance to look at it. And it's all about the image of people of color in the media up to about the 90s. But stuff like that, stuff you're never exposed to, even at Wilson, where we were in the international studies program that was all about, right, which was all about studying like any issues that like any other culture would have with race a little bit. But when you touch on America, oh, see, now America is nice and pristine. We wear the white outfit. We got the cowboy hat. Like there's a whole image that he's hearkening back to. What I like the most, what I like about what he said though is he is trying to institute a curriculum. You guys remember the last curriculum they tried to institute? Do you remember how many states were at war about changing their curriculum? He ain't gonna get dip done. That is the most encouraging thing to
It's
me.
not even about getting a curriculum done. This is conversations he's having with his base. These are open conversations that he's having with his base. He's talking to them.
And this is also an affront to the 1619 Project, which came out, I believe, 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a long form New York Times piece about the founding of the US that relies on tenets of critical race theory. And it talks a lot about race, slavery, and the history surrounding that. And Trump immediately had a problem with that. So he has put forth an effort to get it eradicated from schools. He doesn't want it taught in schools. And this goes back to his primary premier agenda, make America great again. He's starting to show, because when you talk to people in this country and ask them, what does MAGA mean? What does make America great again? They really can't tell you. They get really quiet. But now he's starting to let it out what he's talking about his white supremacist views, about how he, is in favor of a white agenda, how he is in favor of not talking about the ills of slavery. And when he, refers to the founding fathers, because I think he wants to call his initiative the 1776 agenda or something like that. It's like, if you think about the founding fathers, hello, they were slave owners. So you're not even trying to tell the truth about the people that have spearheaded your agenda. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Let's get Rob B up in here. You've got about 90 seconds.
Okay. So I see a very divided nation, and the way that you keep people divided is by keeping them ignorant and fearful. If you teach them, if you give them the right information, I can be on the other side of the information. But if I'm a critically thinking adult, I can look at it and perhaps learn a little bit more from it. I think what he's doing is absolutely shameful, trying to squelch this, because in Canada, we've taken a very different approach towards our curriculum. We've been looking at we have introduced the residential school situation into the Canadian curriculum. It is a shameful part of our history, but we own it. And now we're going to talk about it with our kids in the schools so that they understand what they did, why Native Americans in our country are in a hard spot in so many ways. So it's that education component that you need in order to understand an issue. And if you're going to suppress it, and when he's talking about his new curriculum, he's talking about a patriotic curriculum.
Yeah.
To me, that tells me that that's a white Christian agenda.
Yep.
And that scares the Jesus out of me, because if you want to be absolutely right about something, you get a higher power behind you. And when you start pushing an agenda like that, Hitler was a devout Catholic. He had an agenda. He wanted to teach a certain way.
Cam, you got any comments online?
Quite a few. Daria Winter. What colonists do is replace the history to their history. Is always about the teachers. All were bound by the same curriculum. Ethnic notions could have been taught at any of the schools. Jacqueline Robinson. First of all, this idiot was not empowered to change. Doesn't have the power to change the curriculum. I've never seen so many folks so butthurt about a project that examines the history of slavery. Mike Winter. Canada is so different. Even Germany teaches about the Holocaust.
You skipped over
Jose.
Julius is a hater.
Jose. Oh, true. Jose, our prime minister has apologized many times to the indigenous people. To Mike Winter, hater but true. It's the worst type of hater. Kevin Thaxton, next stop, authoritarian government. Doors opening on the right. Watch your step. Ripka, oh Lord, Can both chubby men have a heart attack for all I care?
That's funny.
Very quickly, and I know we're out of time, but very quickly, Rob touched on an important point, talking about how history is treated in Canada. It's very similar to Germany. We all know what happened with Germany and Hitler and the Holocaust and the effort to eradicate Jews. Germany does not hide from that history.
Right.
Germany teaches that history. It is illegal in Germany to have a swastika. It is illegal in Germany to say Heil Hitler and to put forth an ideology that promotes that. So I don't understand why here we are shying away from it, where we have countries that accept their role and are trying to learn from it.
I just want to point out a couple more. Just Jose said he's a coward, and it's not about him, unless it's about Trump. Trump doesn't care. Lisa Cocaine said the same issue occurs in Canada. We are not taught the truth about how Indigenous people were treated by settlers and how the system was created with racism built into its foundation.
Ron.
Lisa is a coworker of mine, and she's absolutely correct. When I went through the school system, I didn't learn jack about it. So the introduction of the residential schools is a new addition to the curriculum. And I absolutely applaud the government for making that change, because had I been taught that information as a child, it would have greatly impacted my development as a young adult. It would have changed a lot of interactions over the course of my lifetime, because I had ideas that were inherited socially from my community, not factual. So I was influenced by people who didn't know any better, and that shaped my thinking. If you would have given me good information as a kid, I could have learned a better way. I could have even taught adults in my circle a better way.
Good point.
Really tight on time.
Real quick. We still haven't even talked about, we've talked about black people, African Americans, but we haven't touched on the internment camp, the Japanese internment camps. Yeah. We haven't touched on like many of the way migrants were treated. There's so much.
No, we're out of time, guys. We're gonna have to let this one go. We're gonna come back.
I just want to say the average American doesn't even know about the Japanese internment camps.
Right.
That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, we can bring that up on next week. Yeah, get a hot topic on that one. All right, we have to.
Read no boy. Read no boy.
All right, Robbie, we're gonna go quickly through this one, Robbie. It's a really important topic, though. I think we need to hash it out, and it'll lighten things up a bit too. Robbie, is this a truth, lie, or shenanigans?
Well, it's I haven't actually been able to confirm it on any of the major media outlets, so we'll call it I want to be truth. But it's an introduction of a great topic for discussion.
I love it.
So the story, as it goes, is that the one of the police officers in the Java region, Indonesia, decided to penalize anti-maskers by participating in the grave digging for the burials of the COVID victims. And the story goes that they only have 3 grave diggers in the region. So by forcing this type of labor, well, you're not finding people, you're not making them financially destitute, but you are forcing them to be part of the solution, part of the aftermath. So here is a direct consequence of not wearing your mask. So my question to the co-hosts would be, is this a policy that should be in effect rather than having fines in place for large gatherings, having really strongly worded conversations? If law enforcement could just say, hey, you know what? You're not wearing your mask. Great news. We've got 5,000 more graves that need digging in New York. So come on over.
I just want to point out, in my research, there were more sources for that topic, so I think it's accurate.
Excellent. Thank you.
Cam, did you want to start things off?
Oh, I mean, this one pretty much speaks for itself. Wonderful, accurate punishment. You little Bamas, okay, do your thing. Here's your shovel. Like, we have to put up with all these other shenanigans from you. And if you're going to tout that nonsense, great, tout on. You dig that hole first. And the people who died from this, you talk to them because they actually want to hear it, maybe. and like it's such a well constructed punishment, in my opinion. It speaks to everything that's of importance.
And I'd like to point out that when they're reporting for work, these people are in full plastic suits, the masks, the goggles. It's not just wearing a mask to safely go to work now. You're completely suited for biohazardous protection.
And I want to just say, they they're definitely. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, Lizzie. Sorry.
Do you guys remember the late comedian Robin Harris? Bebe's Kids back in the day? Do you remember there was a part of his joke spiel where if someone got arrested for something, if someone committed a crime, immediate didn't matter the crime. It was immediate life. Life. That's how I feel about it. You don't wear a mask, life. If not life, exile. Like I think this is a good idea. I think this is a starting point. However, we need to start getting serious with these people who are putting other lives at risk. And so, yeah, first offense, Rob, you get out there and you dig a grave. You dig a grave. Second offense, especially for people, who are old enough to know better or who are posting videos about how they refuse to wear a mask, who are being aggressive with not wearing a mask and threatening people. Not only are you digging a grave, but after that grave is dug, life in prison. That's how I think we should deal with it at this point.
Yeah, I think it was last week we had the conversation about. Yeah, I think it was Z who talked about anti-maskers having to pay a fine in New York of $50.
Yeah.
$50, yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about, and Lizzie was like, no, $200, and or I don't know what you're some ridiculous amount. But I mean, I will say in Indonesia, it is from what I was reading was one of the worst hit countries in Southeast Asia. So they felt that they needed to do something to take care of those anti-maskers. I think it's a great idea. I mean, there needs to be some punishment. I mean, I think there should be some punishment when you know you're basically potentially the cause of hundreds or hundreds of thousands or thousands of deaths. There needs to be punishment for that. I mean, it's just like murder in most countries.
I don't see why they get to wear masks and stuff. That's what I don't understand. Like, why do you get the mask up all of a sudden? No.
If you have to put in a full day of labor while wearing a mask and you haven't dropped dead from oxygen deprivation or any breathing complications, then you know that you can wear the darn thing every day so that you don't have to go through that kind of it.
I think it's good for them too because they're seeing the consequences of not wearing the mask. So
we see the consequences in the media. They're living.
Right, they're right, exactly. Right. So it's actually there. They're actually and so that and then they can if they're seeing who's dying and maybe they'll fear for their own families. Some sense of empathy is kind of necessary in these situations. I think
that's a good way to try to teach it.
You have any comments online, Jim?
Oh, all right, all ready to be feisty. So.
You can be feisty. You got some more to say?
No, not really. I just think that maybe the first time they get the mask, if they get a second offense, no mask. They already know. So anyway, Kevin Thaxton. Actually, I'll go to the next one. That was the last one. Jackham Robinson. It's like scared straight for anti-maskers. Jose, we're playing. So true. Kevin, Southern whites will take the physical challenge instead of comply.
The physical challenge.
Dig that hole when you catch the Rona. You cannot go to the hospital. So, Rubka, hey, did they have to wear masks while digging the graves? Anti-maskers should dig their own graves too. Jump in early.
Oh,
see.
Oh, she's vicious.
All right, okay. Don't wear a mask. I don't care, but stay away from me and don't shame me or others for wearing a mask. Erica, hi, Grandpa and friends. Daria, La. Jose, Jam, agreed. And Mike Winter, oh, Grandpa. Let's see, we got Jose, I think it should be like that everywhere. Last run, Rubka. The mask has even become a sign of solidarity. It's like a salute to one another, showing respect and empathy.
Love that. All right. That is it for our hot topics. Great job, guys. Good hot topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on straight to our Shenanigans game show.
Right.
The cheating game. The cheating game.
Yep, this should be fun for you.
Cheating game.
On Sundays too, Liz?
Oh my God.
Cheating game on Sundays.
On the Sabbath. Of the Lord's day.
All right.
Oh,
So
now it's Sabbath. Oh, okay.
I mean, I never said it wasn't. He didn't say it was a Sabbath. I just don't agree in the he that says with the Sabbath. We're gonna have to have a religious show. We're gonna have to have a religious show.
Please, because that was yesterday, technically.
It was yesterday.
Just saying. Technically, it is.
All right. All right, so let me explain the game. It looks like we might have a little glitch here, but let me explain what's going on. This is Guess 5, very similar Family Feud. I'll display, or I guess in this case I might have to read off the question, and you'll give me what you think is the most popular answer. We'll do 3 rounds, starting with Lizzie, going clockwise. For each round, we'll move on to the next contestant so that each of you will get to start a round. You're earned 1 to 5 points depending on the most popular answer. If you do not get one of the answers, you get 0 points. Person with the most points at the end of the game wins the game. I'm going to try to reset this really quickly before we start and see what happens. But I don't think it's going to work. All right. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's working. All right, so I'm just going to read it off, and you give me your answer. Hold on, I'm just going to remove this from the page. So it's out of the way. All right. So, Lizzie, we're starting with you. And
Here are the rules. Okay, go ahead.
all right, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question, and you are going to give me what you think is the top answer. All right? So, name an animal without legs.
Fish.
All right. 4 points. That's number 2 answer. Good job. Rob B. Animal without legs.
Animal without.
4 points. You got the score right, Jim? 4 points for Lizzie.
Yes. So it's 4, you said?
4 points for Lizzie.
Snake.
Snake. All right. Number 1 answer. Ding, 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 ding. 5 points for Rob B. All right. Animal without legs, Jam.
Slug.
Well, I'll give you credit for snail. Snail, 3 points.
All right. Yay!
Close enough. Not quite the same thing, but close enough.
It's like a snail, but homeless.
Right.
That's funny.
Can I just say? Can I just ask for an amendment to this? Based on what we just did, Jam will never have an opportunity to get the top answer.
No, he will.
Yes, because now we're starting with me, and next round we're starting with Jam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clockwise.
But what if
She said she missed the rules.
But if you give the top answer, Jam can't give it. I can't give it.
Next round.
The next round, he'll start.
Jam starts the 3rd round, so he does have the opportunity to get the top answer.
But if you're the last person in that round and someone has already given the top answer, the last person has no opportunity to give it.
Oh, the most you can hope for is your 3 or 4 point question, or the 3 or 4 point answer. You could have picked the 1 point answer.
You only get 1 shot, Eminem. You only get 1 shot.
That doesn't make any sense. But what? Again, cheaters. But let's go. Let's go.
Okay, Rob B, you are starting. All right. What would the earth be better without?
I'm glad I got an opportunity to pause for this one. Woo!
Yeah, I know. I really had to pause there. I'm gonna go and say.
And think about like Family Feud. So I mean, we're not. It's probably not going to be like political type stuff. I'm going to give you that little.
But I am going to say war.
War. That's the third best answer. Yes, 3 points. 3 points. 3 points for Rob.
Not 5, not 4. 3 points. So you guys have options to get the top question or the top answers.
But if you had given the top, if you had given the top answer, then Jam and I would have been asked out. No.
Lawyers.
Jam.
Lawyers.
Oh, lawyers. No. That is a
man.
no. No. 0 points for Jam. Lizzie?
Damn.
Disease?
Disease. I will give you credit for death. 4 points for Lizzie.
Okay.
I almost said people.
I'll give you credit. Number one answer is pollution. Pollution, death, war, crime, mosquitoes. I agree with the mosquito. Oh, I didn't give the answers for the last one. Hold on, I didn't give the answers for the last one. The last one was hold on. Should have given. I feel like Steve Harvey in his first year on Family Feud. He kept messing up. All right. Animal without legs was snake, fish, snail, worm, whale. All right. All right, last question. What can ruin a picnic? Jam.
Ants.
Ants. That is the number 4 answer. So you get 2 points. 2 points. 2 points for Jam. What can ruin a picnic, Lizzie?
Honestly, I have 2 answers, but I'm going to go with rain.
Rain is the number 1 answer. 5 points for Lizzie. And Robbie?
Unwanted guests.
No. Wow, Lizzie blew you guys out there.
You want to know what my other answer would have been? Bad potato salad.
Oh, that would have been a better answer for the rest of the group here. They would have...
Personally, I was going to say a lynch mob, but whatever.
All right, that's our game show. Sorry for the glitch. It would have been a little more fun if you could see it online, but sorry about that. All right, I guess that is our show. Let's do some shout outs before we close out, though.
All right. All right.
The shout out.
Shout out to the Democrats. Get yourselves together. Get up off the couch. Stop being passive. Come on. Wakanda, y'all. Let's do this. Let's do this. For everyone else, be safe. Wear your mask. Live to see us on Wednesday.
All right, Robbie.
Shout out to everyone that's having a hard time right now, who feels like 2020 has been very difficult and trying. Look for those silver linings. They're out there. There are feel-good stories. Do something special for you. Get out before winter and fall really fall upon us. Enjoy that little bit of sunlight while we got it.
All right, Jam.
Shout out to the fam. Also to Rubka, Kevin, Mike, Jackie. Who am I missing? Jose, Erica, Daria.
So Jose with an E at the end of it is French Jose.
Oh,
Jose.
okay.
But that's also the Brazilian version. That's also the Brazilian version. It's Jose in Brazil, in Portuguese as well.
Interesting.
Cool. All right. And that's Lisa, I get you. And that is about it. Hope I didn't miss anybody. And 45 lies. Random shout outs are great, but feel free to share.
I want to point out that Mike said Lizzie, Mike Winter says that Lizzie can finally win so she won't be whining like usual.
Y'all want me to finish this on a curse word?
I'm just reading the comments. I'm just reading the comments.
See, Mike, no promises, Mike. No promises.
I will gather that up in a minute. Don't you worry.
My shout out goes to my nephew, Owen. Owen is 9 years old today. So happy birthday. Owen. After we get off this here, we're going to we're having a party over here for Owen. So want to have a little fun afterwards. So looking forward to that.
Costume party with masks.
Yes.
All right. So that's it for our show. We hope you enjoyed the show, got a little something off your chest, learned something, got a new perspective. Just don't forget to follow, like, subscribe at PLS Live Show. We need to get you on to our social media. Also, make sure you join us Wednesday, 8 p.m. for another great show with myself, Lizzie East, Rob B. And we are expecting a special guest. Keep an eye out on our social media for more information on the guest who's coming. And our final word goes to Miss Lizzie. Who won?
I thought I
What
just
game? Say what?
I just thought I just gave it. Well, okay, so final word
Give a
is
shout out.
them Bama Cowboys just came back and won 40-39. Washington football team, you guys are down 17-0. Get it together. Let's do this. For the sake of not having a racist name. Let's go.
Not having a racist name. All right. Have a good time, guys. See you Wednesday.